okay, here I am again, and this is another stage of the Fool's journey. And in this one, he's going to meet or deal with or understand something about the Wheel of Fortune. And a few things to mention first. If you remember in the beginning, the Fool came down the mountain and he's going this way. He's going from right to left. And that's why I started over here and spread the cards across this way. And I wanted to just mention something about this direction in which the Fool is moving. If you draw a horoscope like that, those are the two main lines, and this is the horizon along here, and this is sunrise, and over here is sunset, right? So this is the beginning of the day, this is the beginning of the day, and this is the end of the day. And so when you go from here to here, you're going from an end to a beginning. And so I think that's interesting, the fact that the Fool is going in this direction. And so I want to say that the Fool's journey takes anybody from what we're given, a starting point that we're given, and that we really can't do much about because it's developed over the years, or it's something we inherited. So we're going from what we've been given, and as we get further through the major trumps, we're going in the direction of where we can choose what it is that we want to do or what it is that we want to have. So in a sense, we're going from fate, a fated condition that we inherited, to a free will condition where we can make decisions. Or we're going from an end to a beginning. Okay. The other thing is, sometimes if you lay out the whole spread or all the cards, it's sometimes interesting to glance back and forth and see what you notice. And as I put this together, somehow you can take these first four cards, the Magician, the High Priest, the Empress, and the Emperor. They sort of belong together. They're a little group because they're all just single people standing or sitting. And the thing is, I happen to notice in particular, the Hierophant and the Lovers, they seem to go together because you've got a couple of people, someone in the middle. And so just the shape of the card, the design, it sort of looks like they belong together as a pair. So as you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you've got religion and then you've got romance, the Hierophant and then the Lovers. And so if you say to a lot of people, this card represents religion, a lot of people will say, well, I'm not religious, or I don't really particularly believe in anything, and so on. But I think the order is telling, or can be interesting, because most people, I think, are introduced to religion by their parents. When you were little, they took you to church, or they tried to teach you values, or they tried to tell you what the holy book or their own particular religion taught them, or what they were brought up with. So the Hierophant, it can represent religion, and it can represent ideas that you've been given on how to solve problems. And so the Hierophant upside down can mean that the techniques you've been given to solve moral problems, or to come to make a correct decision, maybe it's not good enough for you, it doesn't work, or you find you don't agree with it. But the Hierophant upright can represent the influence of the parents, only because when you were little, your parents probably tried to teach you some kind of religion. And so it may be something that you notice, because before romance and partnerships, you've got religion, and this is maybe a moral basis so you can actually deal better with the opposite sex. But just looking at, if you lay out the cards, you may notice or think, okay, these cards go together. What's it telling us? So we've got the Fool, and he's coming along, and so here we've got the Wheel of Fortune. And if I can remind you of this diagram here. So we've got, because it's a circle, right? This can be sunrise, noon, sunset, and midnight. All right, because we've got a circle and a cycle, and this can be a clock face. You can think of it as a clock face. But if you take it beyond the clock face and go sunrise, sunset, noon, and midnight. So if the fool enters at this point, and in our journey in this direction, if he enters here and we go around clockwise, then he's going to go from sunset to midnight. So conditions are going to get darker as he goes from here down to here. And so this card can appear to be quite frightening because you're going from dark or somewhat dark to completely dark down here. And so there's a German folk tale, and I forget the fellow's second name. I think it's Till Eulenspiel. I'll put it on screen. And this fellow, he used to cry when he was going downhill and dealing with something easy, and he used to laugh happily when he was going uphill, and going uphill was more strenuous, more difficult than going down. And he had it sort of the wrong way, or the reverse way from everybody else. And somebody asked him why he did it like this, and he said something along the lines of, I cry when I'm going downhill because I know when I get to the bottom I'm going to have to work to go up. And I laugh going uphill, going through a difficult period, because I know I'm going to get to the top and then it's going to be easy. And so with the Wheel of Fortune, it's like, I sort of want to say, this point here is not just it's not just an event, a situation on its own. It's part of a cycle, or it's part of something. In the same way that Till Eulenspiel understood that going down was part of, next he was going to have to go up. And so he understood going down differently from most people. And so with the Wheel of Fortune, I think we kind of have to understand the flow or the cycle that this is part of. So with this, when this card comes up, we need to sort of figure out what the background is and be aware of what else is going on behind the scenes. So let's say this card comes up and you want to know, are you going to get a job? You really then thinking about what's the background to the question. Do you have qualifications? Do you have good enough qualifications? Are you applying for something that you basically don't want to go for because you feel you ought to, or because people have talked you into it? So I think with depending what the question is with the Wheel of Fortune, you have to figure out what the background is, and when you understand the background, then you're in a better position to understand how to deal with this particular card. Also because there's something in I think it's in, okay, if we're going from fate to free will, then at some point we're going to be given the ability to make a choice, to choose what we're going to do or how we're going to do it. And I'm kind of reminded of, there's a sentence or a line, I think it's in Hamlet, and somebody says somewhere in Shakespeare, there's nothing good and nothing bad, but thinking makes it so. And so in the same way that Till Eulenspiel was in a situation, and the way he thought about the situation changed his experience of it. So going down was not a good thing, it was a bad thing. Whereas going up, you might think is a bad thing, but the way he thought about it, it was a good thing. And I think those are important things to remember when we're dealing with the Wheel of Fortune. The other thing is, if this is sunrise and that's sunset, this is noon and this is midnight. So with the Wheel of Fortune, you're going down to midnight. And midnight is an important point because it's a change from one day to the next. And if you think about it, a Friday is not the same as a Saturday. No matter what country you're in, who you are, Sunday's not the same as a Tuesday. Sunday's not the same as a Monday. And so, because you're going from here to here, you're going to the changeover point from one day to the next. So the advice of the card might be, don't get too attached to what you know, because there's going to be a change quite soon. So don't get too attached to Friday, because Saturday is just around the corner, or Saturday is about to happen. Let me just look at the clock here. 9:43. I'm going to stop. Okay, one last thing. I'm setting up another Teach Yourself Tarot site, and I'll tell you about it next time.